Hey guys, this is Gene Jensen, and as part of my toad trips, Lake Okeechobee, the next thing I've got to do is I've got to take all of the research that I've done and I've got to get my tackle ready. And I'm going to start off with preparing my rods and reels. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to take my rods and I'm going to divide them up. And yes, I know I've got a lot of rods, and a lot of you guys, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rods. Don't judge me. I've got I teach techniques, and I like to have the right rod for the techniques that I'm teaching, and that's why I keep a lineup of 15 to 20 rods. And for this trip, I know that I'm going to be dealing with things like, I know I'm going to be dealing with grass. All the research has told me I'm going to be dealing with heavy, thick cover all the way to sparse grass and things like that. I already pretty much know the main lures I'm going to try to start with. It's going to be a flipping bait, a chatter bait, maybe a spinner bait, so a moving bait, a paddle tail swim bait. And so I'm kind of keeping that in my mind while I'm choosing which rods that I need to set up specifically to fish every day, and then the other rods that I need to set up just in case the bite's a little off and I have to punt and go deep or go crank in or go something else. Okay, so what I've got lined up here is I've got my heavy power rods, my medium heavy power rods, my medium power rods, and I've got my moderate action crankbait rods, and then over here in this corner, you can't see them, I've got my little fairy wands, my spinning rods. Okay, so I need to take these rods and I need to make sure that each reel on that power or that action of rod has the right kind of line on it, and I have the right kind of reel on it. So I'm going to start off with my heavy power rods. Okay, so I've got 3. I'd like to have a 4th one, but that's just me. I've got a shorter one. This is my frog rod. It's a 7'1" heavy Envy rod, 13 Fishing Envy. I've got 8:1 gear ratio, which is okay because I'll probably end up using this one for swim baits and things like that. I might change it up to a 7:1 or a 6:3 or 7:3, whatever they've got. I don't know. We'll see. But I've got the right kind of braid on there. I've got 65-pound braid. The other one is one of my punching rods. This is a 7'11" heavy action rod. It's already rigged up. It's got everything I want. It's rigged up just right. 65-pound braid, 8:1 gear ratio. This is an Omen Black. So I've got that one rigged up. So that one's ready to go. The only heavy rod that I see that I need to change up is I've got 20-pound fluorocarbon on this 7'3" heavy. And so I'm going to change that to braid. I've got a reel already set up for braid. I'm going to put one of the new Inception reels on it and take care of that. So that's one rod that needs to be done. Now, because I'm going to be dealing with big fish, or have the opportunity to deal with big fish, there's a lot more big fish on Okeechobee, and because I'm going to be dealing with heavier cover, I'm going to do some little oddball things with my medium heavy rods. I would normally throw a chatterbait or a swim bait, a little paddle tail swim bait, on a medium heavy moderate action rod. But this time I'm going to basically take my medium heavy jig rod, and I'm going to use it as my paddle tail swim bait rod, and I'm going to use braided line with it. I'm going to be pulling that stuff through that thing through some heavy cover, and really a swim bait this time of year. A nice big size paddle tail swim bait, the big ones just crush it. So I want to make sure I'm set for that. So the watercolor of Okeechobee is that dark tannic swamp type water, so I can get away with using braid. So that's how I'm going to rig that one up. I'm going to pull one jig rod out, 7'3", medium heavy action. Let's pick one. That's a 7'3" medium heavy power. It's got 20-pound fluorocarbon on it, and I'm going to switch this Concept C out with my other Inception that I have 50-pound braid on. All right, so as you can see, I switched it out to the Inception. I have 50-pound braid on here, and that's what, like I said, that's what I'm using for my swim baits. And I may or may not like it. If I don't like it, I'm going to have a backup rod or a rod I can switch to. Maybe I want to go back to switch to fishing a moderate action rod. But I think this one's going to be just fine. The reason why I would change it is if I felt like it wasn't loading up enough to give me a good, decent cast. I need a little bit of flex for those swim baits. Maybe I'm throwing a lightweight swim bait and I have to go down to a medium action rod. It's still going to be a fast or medium power rod, and it's still going to be a fast action rod. But I'll just adjust, and that's one of the things I do. I tend to, if I don't like something, I immediately change it because it messes with my confidence. So 50 pound braid on an Inception reel, 7'3" medium action or medium heavy action rod. That one's ready to go. This is a heavy action. I've got a Mike Bucca bull shad swim bait on here. I don't want 20 pound test fluorocarbon. So cut that off, reel that up. I'm not going to take this fluorocarbon off this reel. Too expensive. I'll just put this reel in a case, in a protective case, and take it with me just in case I do need fluorocarbon. And then I've got another Inception reel right here that's got 50 pound braid on it. That may or may not be heavy enough. I think it'll be just fine. I'm not going to do anything too crazy with this rod. Yeah, that's my 7'3". 7'3" heavy. That's not my punching rod. All right, so that one's ready to go. Notice I'm not rigging these rods up. I'm still 4 days out, 5 days out from fishing, and I don't like to tie knots several days ahead, especially with monofilament and copolymer. Those knots, they just tend to weaken over time, I guess. I've broken off a lot of fish on the very first hook set of the day if I've either not retied that morning or rigged it several days ahead of time. Don't like to do it. All right, let me show you this little trick. Try not to get everything tangled up. This is how I recycle braided line. Over time, your braid gets pretty worn out and discolored and everything else. Usually a year or a year and a half of fishing. And instead of throwing that braid out, what I do is I've got an old Pro Max reel that I used to fish with and my kids have fished with, and it's got braided line. It's got 65 pound braid. It's not quite so worn out, but this is what I do when the braid's worn out, is you take that line off of that reel and you tie it to the backing on another reel. So I've got it joined with an Albright knot right there. Let's see if you guys can see that. See that Albright knot? Got it joined right there. And basically all I'm going to do is take the line off of this reel and reel it onto this reel. And when it does that, you get the opposite side of the braided line that's not worn out. And you just doubled the amount of the life of your braided line. Pretty cool little trick. And that's all you do. I don't have a table here, sorry guys. Put it on the floor. But you just reel that line off of the old spool or off the old reel onto a separate reel, and there you go. You have it set. Pretty cool little trick. Anyway, I'm gonna keep getting things ready. All right, so I pretty much feel like all my rods are ready to go. I've switched line around. I've changed reels from rod to rod depending on what line was on the reel. Really didn't pay much attention to the gear ratio except for my flipping and pitching rods and the rods that I'm going to be throwing bottom baits on and doing good little accurate pitches and things like that. I love to have a high-speed reel, so those are all my 8 1-to-1 reels. And then my jig rods are either going to be 7 3-to-1 or 6 3-to-1 or 7 1-to-1. Anyway, I don't think much about it. I just make sure that my bottom rods and my jig rods are 8 1-to-1 or 7 1-to-1 high speed, and then the rest of them just kind of fill in the blanks. So I've got 3 heavy rods, all with 65 pound braid, various lengths of rods. I don't pay much attention to a length unless I'm pitching and flipping, and then I like the longest rod that I can find. That's why I've got a 711 pitching rod. I've got medium heavy rods with 65 pound braid and 50 pound braid on there. 3 of them. These are the new Inception reels I was talking about. And then, just in case the water's too clear, I don't think it will be, but I've got 3 medium heavy rods. All of them have 20 pound fluorocarbon on there. And And I switch these reels around depending on what I'm doing and the water clarity. I have another one with 20-pound test fluorocarbon in reserve. Just kind of, I'll have it in a case or have it in a box in my truck. Got another one that's a 7.3 to 1 that's got some 15-pound copolymer, and another one, same thing, 6.6 to 1 with 15-pound copolymer. Those are my reserve reels, just in case I want to switch things up a little bit. Then my medium action rods, I have 4 of them. All of them have 15-pound Isoline copolymer on them, and they're going to be for spinner baits and maybe a chatterbait if I feel like it's too light for my medium heavy rods. And then the other things are my crankbait rods. Those both have 12-pound fluorocarbon on them. And the only time I'll drag them out is if a cold front moves through, the bass that are in that grass pull out into the canals and the ditches, and you've got to crank really slow with some clear line, and they're really finessey, and you just got to grind all day with a crankbait. I hope I don't have to use those, but I have them set up. And then of course one little fairy wand, and it's set up the way it is, braid with 8-pound fluorocarbon. So that's my rods. I feel like they're ready for the trip. Now the next video is going to be about my tackle preparation and how I plan and pack and the kind of tackle I'm bringing specifically for Okeechobee. Well, like I always say, be sure to introduce somebody to fishing. Be sure to show them my videos. Let me help you teach them how to fish, and more importantly, get out in the water, go out and catch some fish, and have a great day.